Another week, another round of the Flash. Hey guys, Mega Man NG here, and it's that time again. Yep, it's another round of me reviewing this week's Flash. Today is a different case, because it's one that I've been hyped for quite some time. That's right, it's the Flash of Two Worlds. Before I begin, you notice why I'm showing a pic of Jay Garrick, right? Well, that's the main focus. As I mentioned last week, I will provide a short summary of what it's about along with my thoughts as well as some interesting info that you can find to be helpful, as well as stuff that I liked and disliked about the episode. Remember, folks, that if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. It really means a lot to me, and it will tell me that you guys will be hyped for more. So let's get started, and be forewarned, this one's a long one because I really go off the deep end here. So let's get started. Right after the events of last week's episode, The Man Who Saved Central City, Barry and his team meet a man named Jay Garrick, the Flash from an alternate Earth who warns them of impending danger. Barry isn't convinced he's telling the truth, so he has his team put him through some tests. However, they soon learn of a foe that uses sand as a weapon. The Flash tries to stop him but fails, and when Jay provides a way to stop him, Barry refuses and it causes friction with the entire team. But when an officer ends up becoming a hostage to this sand demon, can Barry be able to put his doubts aside and allow Jay to help stop him? Sometimes two heroes work a lot better than one. Alright, summary out of the way. Now we get to the stuff I think you like the best. Let me be the first to say that this was an episode I was so hyped for. I really am, because honestly, seeing Jay Garrick on the Flash TV show is just incredible. I loved it. For those who don't know, Jay Garrick is the Golden Age Flash. The first Flash. He is the first and original speedster who came into form in 1940 during World War II. It's awesome, and I do like how he gave Barry and his friends some details into his origins. And yes, he actually did mention how he got his powers, via heavy water vapors. Seriously. When it comes to the DCU, who the heck am I to complain, honestly? Anyway, Jay Garrick in the series is portrayed by Sears. Sorry, it's Teddy Sears. He does an amazing job as Jay, and I also believe that he's going to serve as a mentor to Barry. I do believe so. Hopefully, I feel that he'll be better than Harrison Wells did back in Season 1. We get a look at his costume, and it's very good. If I was to compare it with the original costume Jay had in the comics, I'd say it's pretty good. However, here, when he ends up in Barry's world, he doesn't have his powers, and that'll be something I'll explain later. The episode also looks into Barry's insecurities because, let's be honest, how would you feel if someone you trusted, someone you relied on, someone who basically helped you when things got tough decided to stab you in the back and make your life miserable? You would feel angry, you would feel hurt, and in the process, you would feel insecure. It's what he's going through right now in this episode. He didn't trust Jay at first, but in the end, he allowed him to help because he didn't want to suffer a repeat of what he went through last season, especially since he lost his mother and had his father put in jail. This here was a good moment for Barry, and it gave him some pretty good development and shows that not all heroes are perfect, even heroes have flaws. Fortunately, it gets resolved, and this lets Barry start trusting Jay more. We'll see how the season goes when it comes to the two. As for the villain of the week, I may as well get it out of the way. This week's villain was the Sand Demon, a villain from the Firestorm series of comics. Oh yeah, you wonder why I'm using a pic of this guy, right? Well, it's all I could find, so I apologize. Anyway, the Sand Demon is DC's version of the Sandman from Marvel, where he basically uses sand as a weapon, and it can be used as a defensive measure as well. Though he was pretty sly as a villain, he was simply a means to an end and only was useful to help the plot. Nothing fancy, but I did like seeing him as a threat. He really was a threat, but unfortunately he got his butt kicked by both Flashes. Very fitting. There was also a subplot in this week's episode where an officer named Patty Spivot wishes to join Joe West's AMHTF, or Anti-Metahuman Task Force. I did like this plot since it now introduced a character that appeared in the New 52, Patty Spivot. If you don't know, she's Barry's somewhat love interest in the comics. The relationship with Patty and Joe was pretty good, and you can see Patty's determination. We also learn how she ended up becoming a cop in the first place because of events that happened in the first season where two robbers got powers and she ended up losing her dad. Despite Joe's constant refusal, he gave in and allowed her to join. I feel that Patty will be a good supporting character in the episodes to come, so I give this subplot a plus. Oh, and another plot involves Cisco and his powers manifesting. His powers consist of visions or premonitions that can happen at random. It was unexpected, but at the same time, it made Cisco afraid. Not that we blame him, but we know sooner or later he'll have little choice but to tell the others about it. I'm more wondering how they're going to take it. If you remember last week's review, I explained about Season 2's theme involving the multiverse. Now this episode goes full swing as we the viewers learn what it's about. There were a lot of nods to the multiverse, such as alternate Earths, wormholes, possibilities of having other realities, and the number 52. Now, before anyone wonders, 52 is a number, right? Well, 52 represents three things. One, the new 52 that was launched from 2011 to 2015 as a means of revamping the DC universe after Flashpoint. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Jeff Johns. I didn't like how you changed the DCU because of the event, but I'm still looking at you nonetheless because the whole multiverse thing is now being integrated into Flash Season 2. Anyway, 2. It represents the number of alternate Earths that exist within DC. And like before, there are 52. And finally, number 3. From 2006 to 2007, there was a weekly series that released in DC that details the stories of many of DC's secondary characters while providing origins to many heroes, and it also served as a means to set the stage for future storylines within the DCU. That's right, 52. And it is a very good series that I recommend you guys pick up when you get the chance. These guys, the writers, really hit it home here, and I love it. One of the best, and as a fan of the show, I love it. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. There was plenty of action and emotion all around. One of my favorite moments was in the end, Barry and Jay team up to defeat the Sand Demon. It was awesome. I loved it, despite the fact Jay didn't have his powers. Yeah, like I said, remember there was like an origin, like detailing how Jay took on Zoom, who is the villain of Season 2, took on Zoom, and when the Singularity Portal appeared, Jay ended up sucked in and reached Barry's world, but in the process, lost his powers. It really does suck. Despite the fact that Jay doesn't have it currently at the moment. I wish he did get him back. I wish he does get him back, though. Oh, and when they went to rescue Patty, they recreated the iconic cover from Flash number 123, where both Flashes head to rescue the girl. It made me giddy. No doubt about it. I mean it. It made me giddy, it made me hyped, and it just made me excited. However, if I were to find any faults, it'd be two things, and these are legitimate faults at that. One was the pacing, and it was odd. It was sluggish. It made me wonder what the heck was going on. It just felt random. It really did. That was something I disliked because the pacing just felt out of place. Another complaint was that there was one speedster in the last fight. Sure, you had both Barry and Jay, but having Barry do most of the work while Jay having to take some punishment was kind of meh. I wish Jay had his powers when he arrived at Barry's world. It would have made for an awesome showdown. 2 Flashes against the Sand Demon, it would have been great. It really would, but yeah, you get what you got. But I guess you can't win them all, huh? Alright, now let's get to the nitty-gritty, or rather the ending of things. We move on to the final verdict, and as always, all ratings for these reviews are opinionated, so you are free to disagree with me. Final score for Flash of Two Worlds is an 8. No, screw that. I'm giving this an 8.5 out of 10. It is a great episode, packed with action, some humor, emotion, development, and the arrival of Jay Garrick helped seal the deal. If it wasn't for the sluggish pacing and the end fight with just one speedster, I would have rated it much higher. Although what happened at the end surprised me. It also shocked me too. I'm not going to spoil it. I don't need to say anything else. You need to watch the episode to see for yourself and be amazed because I feel it's going to contribute to the overall plot of the season. I mean it. That's it for this week's episode. As I mentioned in the beginning, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. It does mean a lot to me. And be sure to provide your thoughts in the comments. Oh, and if you share this video around, it can really help, too, because as a fan of The Flash, it makes it all the more sweeter. Next week, looks like Captain Cold is bringing family involved. This can prove troubling for the Flash. But what can you say when he has to deal with a family of rogues? See you next week. Peace out.